She was bent over, wiping a table right there under the crystal chandelier of that seven-star hotel lobby. The kind of place where the marble floors shine so bright you swear they're watching you. Amira Collins, 29. No makeup, no fancy jewelry, just a plain white blouse and a black skirt. Her dark hair tied back tight, hands raw from cleaning all day. Right then, a female receptionist with sharp red nails scoffed loud enough for the whole room. Careful. If you wipe the guest's feet by mistake, you'll lose your job. The manager waved her off impatiently, ordering her to disappear before the royal entourage arrived. But then, something unexpected happened. Sheikh bin Nasser, the oil tycoon, the big shot everyone was waiting for, started speaking in this ancient Arabic dialect nobody understood. Silence fell like a stone. Then, from the corner, Amira lifted her head and repeated every word perfectly, in flawless Hadrami dialect. You could have heard a pin drop. The Sheikh's eyes narrowed. Where did you learn that? Were you one of us once? The lobby glittered with gold and glass, the kind of place where every light cost more than a small house. But Amira? She was invisible, a maid with a rag and a bucket, moving quietly among the opulence, doing her job without making a sound. The receptionist kept sneering. You missed a spot, pointing at nothing but making sure Amira felt it. Amira nodded silently. Wiped harder. She was used to being looked down on like she was part of the floor. That day was buzzing. The hotel staff had been prepping for weeks because Sheikh was coming with his entourage. Suits, sunglasses, the whole royal treatment. The manager, a wiry guy with a permanent scowl, barked orders. When he spotted Amira near the entrance, he hissed, "Move. Don't stand there in plain sight." The receptionist laughed loud enough to humiliate her further. Letting a maid stand near the Sheikh? That ruins the prestige. Guests chuckled, glancing at her like she was furniture. Amira bowed her head and slipped to the corner, but her eyes stayed sharp, tracking the Sheikh's group as they entered. Nearby, influencers dripped in designer labels, snapping selfies with the chandelier. One loud woman with a fake tan sneered, "Look at her shoes. Did you steal those from a thrift store?" Her friends gagged theatrically. Amira didn't flinch, just kept wiping, her movements slow and deliberate. The influencer leaned in, filming her with her phone. "Smile for my story, maid lady." Amira's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. She caught the influencer's eyes for a split second, just long enough to make the woman look away. "Before I go on, could you do me a quick favor? Grab your phone, hit that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe. It means a lot to keep sharing stories like this, stories about people knocked down but still standing tall. Thanks for sticking with me." Back to the lobby, the Sheikh entered like he owned the place. Crisp robes, heavy presence. His aides flanked him, all suits and clipped voices. Staff scrambled to bow, smile, offer drinks. Amira stayed in her corner, wiping a side table no one used. Supposed to be invisible, but she couldn't help overhearing the Sheikh speaking in ancient Arabic, a dialect so old most scholars only read in dusty books. He told his aides, "No one here understands us. Speak freely." They started discussing buying oil fields near a disputed border, a risky, controversial deal. One nervous aide muttered, "If anyone's recording, we're doomed." Amira's hand paused on the table. She shook her head slightly, almost like disagreeing with the air itself. Then she pulled out her phone, not to record, but to open an app she built herself, one that translates ancient dialects in real time. A middle-aged guest, dressed sharp, sneered when he spotted it. "Playing games on the job?" He barked to the manager, loud enough for the whole lobby to hear. "Letting staff slack like this? Embarrassing." The manager stormed over, hissing at Amira. "Put that away. You're making us look bad." Amira slipped the phone into her pocket calmly. "I was checking something," she said quietly. The guest laughed, turning to the crowd, checking how to mop better. The laughter spread sharp and cruel. Amira's fingers curled around the bucket's edge, but she didn't respond. She just picked it up and moved on. One of the aides, a tall man with a slick ponytail, caught her eye, barked, "What are you looking at? Do you understand us?" The room's eyes locked on her like she'd stepped out of place. The receptionist snorted. "Don't think working here gives you the right to spy on royalty." Another aide sneered, "Go to the storage room. You're banned from the lobby." Amira's shoulders stayed straight. "I didn't mean to. I only know a little Arabic," she said softly. The aides burst out laughing. Arabic? Since when do maids speak the language of royalty? The receptionist joined the mocking chorus. Her laughter sharp as broken glass. Amira's fingers tightened on her rag, but her face stayed calm. She turned slowly, her steps measured and deliberate. As she neared the lobby's edge, a young bellboy hesitated beside her. Barely 18, he'd seen her work late. Always quiet, always kind. Don't let them get to you, Amira. They're just loud, he whispered. She paused, softening, giving him a small nod, then kept walking. His words lingered like a tiny spark in the cold room. She tucked the rag into her pocket, fingers brushing a photo of her brother, Sammy. The weight of it grounded her. She didn't need their approval. Never had. The Sheikh's eyes stayed on her, narrowing. He leaned forward, speaking again in ancient Arabic, his voice low, testing. If you understand, repeat that sentence in Hadrami prose. The room froze. Nobody knew what that was. Not the aides, not the manager, not even the fancy hotel translator fumbling with his tablet. Amira stopped, turned, placed her hands politely in front of her, and spoke. Her voice was steady, the dialect rolling off her tongue like she was born to it. Perfect pronunciation, perfect cadence. A silver goblet slipped from an aide's hand, crashing loudly. The Sheikh stood, robes rustling. "What's your name?" he asked, voice cutting like a knife. The manager lunged forward, horrified, practically covering Amira's mouth. "Silence. You'll be fired." The receptionist whispered to a coworker, "She's digging her own grave." Others muttered in judgment, "Who does she think she is?" Amira bowed her head again, voice soft but clear. "I only answered because you asked." The Sheikh raised a hand, and silence fell heavier than any command. His eyes searched her like a puzzle. In the chaos, a young woman from the entourage stepped forward, makeup caked on, venom in her voice. "Look at that uniform, falling apart. You think you can stand here and play scholar?" She smirked to the crowd. "Probably stole it from laundry." Laughter erupted. Amira's hand brushed the frayed hem of her blouse. No flinch, no defense. She lifted her chin, locking eyes with the woman. "It's clean," she said, voice barely above a whisper. The smirk faltered. Confidence cracked. An older man, a general with gray-streaked beard, squinted at her. Hands shaking, he said, "You were in Ankura, 2016. Cedar Tree." The name hung heavy in the air. Cedar Tree, the code name of a woman who translated at a secret military summit, the voice that kept two nations from war. The aides exchanged uneasy glances. The manager's jaw dropped. The Sheikh sat back down, hands clasped. "Why are you working as a maid?" he asked. Amira's eyes flicked briefly to the small photo in her pocket, a boy smiling on a dusty street. "I left," she said simply. "I've done enough." The Sheikh nodded, unreadable. "But today, I need you one more time." A junior aide, flushed with ambition, stepped forward, voice loud. "This is ridiculous. She's a maid, not a diplomat." He gestured wildly. "You can't trust her with secrets. She's probably making it up." Murmurs of agreement swelled. Amira stood still, hands folded. Didn't argue or raise her voice. She picked up her rag, folded it neatly, placed it on the table. The gesture silenced the room. The ponytail aide sneered. "You think a few fancy words earn you a seat? Prove it." Respond in extinct Bedouin Arabic. The room held its breath. Amira didn't blink. She opened her mouth and sang. A traditional folk song of the Al-Harif tribe, every note haunting and flawless. The young aide stepped back, pale. "Impossible. Lived with that tribe 2 years." She said calmly. The words rippled like stones thrown into still water. A hotel chef watching from the kitchen door dropped a tray of glasses. The crash echoed, but no one moved. He stepped forward, mouth open. "My grandmother sang that." "How do you know it?" Amira softened for the first time. "I listened." The chef nodded, eyes wet, clutching his apron like a lifeline. The Sheikh stood again, voice firm, extending a hand. "Amira Collins, come with me to Geneva." Gasps. The manager froze. Aides scrambled to their feet, bowing. "At your service, Miss Collins." One stammered. The receptionist's face drained gray. Amira untied her apron, folded it over her arm, bowed. "I don't want fame," she said quietly. "Just to use my voice at the right time." She stepped toward the door. Cameras flashed outside. The anonymous maid about to become a name the world wouldn't forget. Just before she left, An elderly guest with a cane and velvet shawl approached, fingers trembling as she touched Amira's arm. "You remind me of my daughter," she said softly. "She never let them break her either." Amira paused, hand on the doorframe, expression unreadable but kind. "Thank you," she said, then pushed open the door. That moment wasn't the start of Amira's story. Years ago, she'd been someone else, born in Yemen to a wealthy family, father a diplomat, mother a scholar. By 15, she spoke 8 languages, including rare dialects. She sat at her father's desk, tracing maps, learning the weight of words. But then her brother Sammy died, caught in an airstrike on a street he shouldn't have been on. At 20, Amira was working for the UK Ministry of Defense, translating coded messages, saving lives. When she got the news, she stopped, left the job, the city, the life. She wanted to disappear. Years before, in a dusty Yemeni village, an old woman from the Al-Harif tribe taught her that folk song by the fire, voice cracked but strong. "You carry our stories now," the woman said. Amira hadn't sung since that night, until today, folding her apron, that memory flickering in her eyes. Her job at the hotel wasn't random. It was where power moved, where she could listen without being seen. She didn't need the money, her family's wealth untouched, but needed the work, the rhythm, the silence. She heard deals, secrets, plans, letting them pass like wind. That day, with the Sheikh, something shifted. She didn't plan to speak, but when he tested her, it was like Sammy's voice in her head saying, "Don't hide." In the storage room, alone, she pulled out Sammy's photo, traced his smile under dim light. A coworker asked softly, "You okay, Habibi?" "Just thinking," Amira said. She straightened, picked up her bucket, walked back. The lobby was different now. The aides avoided her eyes. The manager muttered apologies she ignored. The receptionist who laughed loudest was gone. Amira stood by the Sheikh's chair, translating, turning ancient Arabic into English, French, then back. The general from Ankara watched, hands shaking. "She saved us back then. Nobody else could have," he whispered. Amira didn't react, fingers brushing the photo in her pocket. A journalist approached. "Miss Collins, how did you learn all this?" She paused, steady. "By listening. No more." The news spread fast. By evening, she was everywhere. The maid who spoke royalty's language. The receptionist fired. The ponytail aide lost his job linked to a leaked deal. The young advisor vanished from the Sheikh's circle. None of it Amira's doing. She didn't post, call, or gloat. She just kept moving. The Sheikh's offer was real, Geneva summit, a chance to shape borders, stop wars. She didn't say yes right away. At home, staring at Sammy's photo, she thought of the tribe, Ankara, the weight of words. She didn't want it again. But his voice echoed, "I need you one more time." At the airport, a young girl stared. Her mother nudged, "Don't stare." The girl whispered, "Is that the lady from the news?" Amira knelt, handing her a worn Yemeni coin. "Keep listening," she said. The girl smiled bright. Amira boarded the plane. Next morning, no fancy clothes. Just her usual skirt and blouse. At the airport, a woman handed her a badge, Global Head of Diplomatic Languages. She nodded. The plane took off. Dubai shrank below. In Geneva, chaos. Diplomats shouting, papers flying. Amira sat out of place, voice steady, translating dialects no one else could. When a border dispute stalled talks, she quoted an ancient poet revered by both sides. Silence. The deal moved forward. Nobody mocked her now. During a break, an older diplomat approached. "I never thanked you. You kept us alive." She nodded once, returned to notes. Nearby, a young translator whispered, "I studied your work. It's in my textbook." "Keep studying," Amira whispered back. News crews wanted interviews, photos. Her story. She gave nothing. One day, a reporter caught her. "Miss Collins, why hide? You're a hero." She stopped, eyes steady. "I'm not hiding," she said. "I'm done talking." Turned and walked away. Back in Dubai, the hotel whispered her name like legend. New receptionist kept her photo. Manager apologized by email. She didn't reply. Months later, at a summit in London, a tall, quiet man stood beside her. Her husband. Nobody knew. Not the Sheikh, not aides, not news crews. He said little, just stood silently. When an aide who mocked her saw him, he froze. Name unspoken, power filling the room. Amira kept translating, voice steady. Outside, A street musician played a soft Yemen lullaby. She dropped a coin, fingers trembling slightly. Their eyes met, a silent recognition. Consequences came quietly. The receptionist's career ruined. The ponytail aide's firm failed. The young advisor lost sponsors. Amira didn't chase or name names. Truth did the work. In the end, Amira stood at a window, London city lights sparkling. Her husband's hand brushed hers. She didn't need to explain. She'd been judged by clothes, job, silence, but never bent, never begged, never lost herself. Now, the world saw her, not as a maid, nor cryptographer, but as a mirror, just a mirror. You know what it's like to be looked down on, right? To feel the sting of words meant to cut, yet still stand tall. You're not wrong for staying quiet. You're not alone carrying that weight. Amira's story proves you don't have to shout to be heard. So, where were you watching from? Drop a comment below and hit follow to walk with me through heartbreak, betrayal, and healing.